What just unfolded was pure chaos. Kirk Frost snapped and unleashed a stunning outburst on Mona Scott. Yes, you heard correctly. Mona Scott, the influential force behind Love and Hip Hop, became the unexpected target of Kirk Frost's fury. It was a dramatic, unbelievable twist that blindsided everyone. How did things spiral from a standard reality TV scene to a full-on controversy? What made Kirk, usually the level-headed one, break down so explosively? Was it bottled-up resentment, boiling over, or is there something darker and more tangled hiding beneath the surface? You will not, believe it or not, the situation escalated at lightning speed. In the chaos, Mona Scott ended up slamming into a set pillar, leaving her visibly shaken both physically and mentally. Yet that is not even the wildest part. The whole ordeal instantly caught fire online, sparking intense debates, emotional responses, and a flood of speculation. Fans, news outlets, and even celebrities chimed in on the fiery confrontation. So what is truly happening behind closed doors? What triggered Kirk's explosion? And what lies ahead for Mona Scott? You seriously do not want to blink the jaw-dropping truth behind. The confrontation is on the verge of being exposed, so stay with us for every wild twist still shaking the entertainment world. Reality TV has always been fueled by drama, but the chaos that unfolded on Love and Hip Hop's set was beyond anything expected. Kirk Frost, a man typically known for staying composed under pressure, unexpectedly lost control. And this was not some minor disagreement. What erupted that day was a collision of heavyweights, a stunning showdown no one could have foreseen. So what really caused this fiery blow-up, and what could it all mean for? It all began with one decision that sent ripples through the entire Love and Hip Hop universe. Mona Scott, the iconic producer behind the franchise's success, made the daring choice to cut Kirk Frost and his wife Rashida from the show. Now, if you're familiar with the world of reality TV, you know these kinds of moves are never taken lightly. When Mona Scott, the genius pulling the strings, decides that a storyline must change, it's not a minor tweak. It's a total overhaul of the show's entire rhythm. Mona's bold choice was, for many, it was seen as a bold power move, one that would alter the show's trajectory. But for Kirk Frost, this wasn't just a professional blow. It felt like a personal insult. And anyone who knows Kirk understands that he doesn't take personal slights lightly. After years of being deeply embedded in the show, navigating the ongoing drama around his marriage, character, and public persona, being cut by Mona became the tipping point. It was as though the years of mounting pressure finally cracked. Not just the producers, but the audience was left stunned by the move. Kirk wasn't just another face on the cast. He was the heart of the show's drama. His tumultuous relationship with Rashida, filled with twists, betrayals, and moments of reconciliation, had kept fans hooked. So removing him and Rashida was a massive risk. Was Mona Scott losing trust in the show's ability to bring drama, or was she simply trying to stir things up? Whatever the reason, one thing was clear. Kirk Frost wasn't about to take this lying down. As the news of their exit spread, the response was immediate and divided. Some saw it as Mona Scott asserting her dominance, doing what she felt was best for the show. Others viewed it as a grave mistake, one that would alienate the loyal fans who had grown attached to Kirk and Rashida's dynamic. But regardless of where you stood, one thing was undeniable. Kirk was livid, and this was no fleeting anger. The tension was palpable, and it wasn't just for the cameras. This felt like a profound personal strike, and Kirk wasn't going to let it slide without a fight. Now let's not forget the long-standing legacy of Kirk Frost on Love and Hip Hop. His reputation on the show has always been up and down. From his infamous affair with Mary Jane to his rocky marriage with Rashida, he had already been the focal point of some of the most dramatic moments the show has ever seen. Let's be honest, Kirk Frost was no stranger to controversy. Whether it was his personal choices, his turbulent relationship with Rashida, or his role in the messiest of situations, Kirk had built a reputation for being the kind of character who stirred drama wherever he went. He walked away, but this time, it was different. This wasn't some scripted scene or a fake argument, it was real, raw emotion. Mona Scott had taken things to an entirely new level. Removing Kirk Frost and Rashida was a daring move, but the burning question everyone was asking was, how would Kirk react? Could the franchise continue without one of its most memorable couples? And more crucially, what did this mean for the show's future? In the weeks leading up to the incident, Kirk had been visibly shaken. Rumors circulated behind the scenes, and there were whispers of the news of Kirk's looming showdown with Mona Scott spread quickly. Everyone could feel the tension building. It was clear something was coming. It was only a matter of time before that simmering anger erupted, and that's exactly what happened on that fateful day. The pressure reached its peak, and what started as an uncomfortable but manageable disagreement spiraled into something much more dangerous. The cameras were rolling, the crew was on edge, and there was no going back. So, what exactly triggered the situation? How did things escalate to the point where Kirk Frost was physically confronting Mona Scott? You won't believe just how intense this confrontation became. The moment that stunned the entire industry wasn't just about Kirk Frost losing his temper. It was everything that built up to it. The frustrations, the pressure, the long history, all of it erupted in one of the most jaw-dropping scenes ever captured on camera. Now, we're going to break it all down for you. Stay with us, because the next chapter of this shocking story reveals exactly what went down when the cameras were rolling, and the real story behind Kirk and Mona Scott's explosive relationship comes to light. Now that we've set the stage, let's dig deeper into what truly unfolded on that unforgettable day. The moment that rocked the love and hip-hop world and turned Kirk Frost into an overnight viral sensation, but not for the right reasons. This wasn't just another argument or a clash of words. No, what transpired that day surpassed anything anyone could have imagined. The world was watching, and what they saw was something completely unanticipated. The tension in the air was undeniable. You could practically feel it. As soon as the crew set up the cameras, everyone could sense that something big was about to happen. Behind the scenes, whispers were circulating that Kirk Frost was preparing to confront Mona Scott. People were on edge, fully aware that Mona's decision to remove Kirk and Rashida from the show had created waves that were only getting bigger. But no one anticipated how quickly things would spiral out of control. What seemed like just another typical day on set quickly shifted. It only took a few casual remarks for Kirk to lose his composure. Mona Scott, as always, was doing her thing, managing the chaos and running the show, pulling the strings behind the scenes. Mona Scott wasn't ready for the storm that was about to hit her. The moment that ignited everything was completely unexpected. Sources close to the production team revealed that Kirk Frost had already been on edge before the incident. His anger had been simmering for days, and he felt deeply betrayed by Mona's decision to kick him off the show. At first, Kirk made an effort to stay composed. He didn't want to add fuel to the fire. But as time passed, his frustration only grew. After all, Kirk had been a fixture on the show for years. Kirk had been an integral part of the show, helping to shape it into what it had become. So, for Mona Scott to just cast him aside felt like a deep personal insult. In the world of reality TV, no one, not even the powerful Mona Scott, could replace Kirk Frost. When Mona approached him to discuss his exit from the show, the conversation was supposed to remain calm, a professional exchange of thoughts. But instead, it quickly spiraled into an emotional eruption. Sources close to the situation say that Kirk didn't hold back, and when Mona attempted to explain her decision, things only got more heated. As Mona continued to explain her decision, it was as if a fuse had been lit inside Kirk. The more she spoke, the deeper the sting of betrayal cut, and that's when everything spiraled out of control. According to an anonymous crew member, Kirk suddenly erupted, shouting, "You think you can just push me out like I'm nothing? I helped build this show with my blood, sweat, and tears. You can't just erase me and expect me to walk away without a fight." His voice grew louder, trembling with raw anger. Mona Scott, usually the calm, calculated mastermind behind it all, was visibly thrown off by Kirk's outburst. But that wasn't the only shocking moment. In the heat of the confrontation, Kirk Frost reportedly took things a step further, physically pushing Mona Scott. This wasn't just a gentle shove, it was a forceful act that sent Mona stumbling backward. The atmosphere on set, once filled with the hum of behind-the-scenes chatter and organized chaos, immediately fell into stunned silence. No one could believe what they had just witnessed. What everyone had just witnessed was unthinkable. Kirk Frost, the man who had built his career on the show, had just attacked the woman responsible for it all. But the real shock came moments later. As Mona Scott tried to steady herself after the shove, she lost her balance and crashed into a pillar. The sharp sound of her head hitting the metal frame echoed through the set, sending shockwaves through the entire crew. It was as if time itself had paused. The noise reverberated, and for a brief moment, everyone froze. Was Mona Scott all right? Had she suffered a serious injury? It took a few seconds before anyone could even move. It took a moment for the situation to calm down, but in that instant, Kirk Frost showed no sign of regret. Sources reveal that instead of rushing to check on Mona, he stood there, seething with anger. His fury had completely overtaken him, and all he could focus on was his own humiliation and hurt. The look on his face spoke volumes, and the crew, caught off guard, was at a loss for how to respond. Meanwhile, people hurried to Mona's side, clearly concerned. She had been dazed by the impact, but luckily, she didn't suffer any serious injuries. However, the emotional and mental toll on her was clear. For someone like Mona, who had built an empire on poise, strategy, and dominance, this was an all-out attack on her power. Kirk Frost's outburst wasn't just a personal attack. It was an open challenge to her authority, and that was not something she could simply overlook. In the aftermath, social media exploded with reactions from fans, media outlets, and even fellow celebrities. The world was left stunned by what they had just witnessed. Was this some sort of stunt for attention, or had Kirk Frost truly lost control? When footage of the altercation leaked, the public's response was swift and divided. Some supported Kirk, believing his anger was justified after being removed from the show, while others rallied behind Mona Scott, accusing Kirk of unprofessionalism and disrespecting the very person who had given him his platform. But the bigger question lingered. What did this mean for the future of love and hip-hop? Could the show survive such a scandal? Was Kirk Frost's behavior a symptom of deeper issues behind the scenes? And how would Mona Scott handle the fallout? This wasn't just another reality TV drama. It was a defining moment. This wasn't just a small setback. It was a full-blown public relations disaster that could have lasting consequences for everyone involved. The answers to the questions hanging in the air were still unknown. In the unpredictable world of reality TV, anything is possible. But what happened here went far beyond anyone's expectations. The shocking altercation was merely the start of a much deeper and more intricate story, one that would continue to unfold in the weeks ahead. As we wait to see the fallout from this explosive scandal, one thing is certain: love and hip-hop would never be the same again. Stay tuned for part 3 of this saga, where we'll dive deeper into the aftermath of Kirk Frost's shocking attack and explore what this means for the future of the show and all those involved. involved. As the dust settles from the explosive clash between Kirk and Mona Scott, the real question remains: what comes next? This isn't just a fleeting moment in the world of reality TV. This is the kind of scandal that could change the entire trajectory of love and hip-hop and potentially ruin careers along the way. After all, this wasn't just a petty argument. It was a game-changing event. This was not just a spat between two cast members. It was an all-out assault that was caught on camera, spread across social media, and analyzed by millions. So where does this story go from here? What happens to Kirk Frost, Mona Scott, and even the love and hip-hop brand after such a colossal public scandal? The aftermath is still unfolding, and in the unpredictable world of reality TV, there are no straightforward solutions. But one thing is certain: the consequences of this shocking attack are far from over. The immediate aftermath is just the beginning, and its true impact is yet to be fully understood. Let's break down the immediate fallout from the confrontation. First and foremost, Mona Scott suddenly found herself thrust into the spotlight in a way she never imagined. Known for her calm, collected approach and sharp strategic mind, Mona had earned her status as the undisputed queen of reality TV. But this explosive incident put that carefully crafted persona at serious risk. After the altercation, Mona not only had to deal with the physical and emotional toll of the event, but also faced the difficult challenge of restoring her reputation. She had built her career over the years on being a master of control, but now her authority was under question. As the genius behind some of the most successful reality TV shows ever, Mona Scott had built her empire on a foundation of control, precision, and seamless drama. But with this incident, her carefully constructed reputation had taken a serious blow. Her once unshakable ability to manage chaos and pull the strings behind the scenes was now under intense scrutiny. On the flip side, Kirk Frost found himself at the heart of a massive PR nightmare. His actions that day weren't just an emotional outburst. They crossed the line of professionalism that is expected in the reality TV world. Despite his history with the show, this was a direct violation of the unwritten rules that governed the industry. As someone with years of experience in the industry, Kirk Frost's actions had set a dangerous precedent. It was clear that the repercussions of this incident wouldn't be easy to handle. Beyond the media storm, Kirk could face serious legal trouble. This wasn't a simple disagreement between colleagues. It was an outright physical assault. While Mona Scott was lucky enough to escape without major harm, the fact that Kirk had physically shoved her meant that the possibility of legal action now loomed large. Legal experts started to suggest that Mona Scott might pursue a lawsuit against Kirk Frost for assault, especially since the incident was caught on camera and widely circulated. Physical confrontations filmed and broadcasted globally can serve as strong evidence in legal proceedings. Mona might choose to take legal action against Kirk, not only to safeguard her own interests, but also to send a clear message to the industry that this type of behavior will not be accepted. On the other hand, Kirk Frost could defend himself by claiming that his actions were driven by overwhelming emotions. Kirk might argue that his outburst was a result of the stress and frustration from being ousted from the show, but legal professionals believe this excuse won't necessarily shield him from facing legal repercussions. The fact remains that he physically harmed someone on set, which could lead to charges, regardless of his intent. If Mona Scott chooses to take legal action, it could spark a lengthy and expensive court case. This not only stands to impact Kirk's career, but also could have far-reaching consequences for the entire love and hip-hop franchise. The last thing producers and the network want is for this scandal to drag out in legal battles, especially with the show's reputation already hanging by a thread. When it comes to love and hip-hop, what does this mean for the future of the show? The series has long been a cornerstone in reality TV, but this scandal has ushered in a new, uncertain chapter in its history. Can love and hip-hop recover from this storm, or will it be the beginning of its downfall? The consequences for the show are just as intense as the personal fallout for those involved. The situation is complicated for both Kirk Frost and Mona Scott. On one hand, this level of drama is exactly what reality TV feeds on. The more explosive the confrontation, the more attention the show gets. But here's the issue. The violence crossed a line. This wasn't a staged fight or an exaggerated argument. This was an assault. If the network chooses to continue supporting both Kirk Frost and Mona Scott after this, it could send a dangerous message to the audience, suggesting that such behavior is acceptable. On the other hand, the producers of Love and Hip Hop could find themselves in a tough spot. They might decide it's time for a change. The producers could realize that keeping such controversial figures on the show might do more harm than good. In the long run, this incident could lead to Kirk Frost's permanent departure from the show, and Mona Scott's position might be at risk if the situation continues to escalate. However, there's always the chance that the producers will capitalize on the drama, using it to generate buzz for the next season. After all, controversy sells, and if they can turn this scandal into part of the storyline, it could keep the audience hooked. For the upcoming season, this could lead to higher ratings and more viewership, but it comes at a significant cost, both to the reputation of the show and to the people involved. The public's reaction was immediate, with fans, celebrities, and media outlets weighing in on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Hashtags like Shaw Kirk Frost vs Mona Scott and Love and Hip Hop Scandal quickly began trending, and fans were divided. Fans were quick to pick sides. Some supported Kirk Frost, feeling that he had every right to be angry. They argued that Mona Scott had wronged him by removing him from the show and understood his frustration. Others, however, were horrified by his violent actions, insisting there was no excuse for putting his hands on Mona Scott. They called for him to be fired and demanded justice. And of course, there were those who were just in it for the drama. They didn't care about who was right or wrong, they simply wanted to see the chaos unfold. Fans were eager to watch the chaos unfold. They argued that this kind of drama was what made love and hip-hop so captivating, and they couldn't wait to see how the producers would deal with the aftermath. The fan base was deeply divided. While some picked sides, others just wanted answers. Was this another example of reality TV pushing the boundaries, or was there something more significant at play? Could love and hip-hop recover from this scandal, or was this the beginning of its downfall? The question on everyone's mind, what's next? A statement from Mona Scott and Kirk Frost is eagerly anticipated. Will Mona Scott take legal action against Kirk Frost, or will she attempt to sweep the incident under the rug and move forward? Will Kirk be removed from the show, or will he be allowed to remain as a cast member? Can love and hip-hop salvage its reputation after such a PR disaster? These are the burning questions on everyone's mind, and fans, along with media outlets, are waiting for answers. One thing is certain, though. The fallout from this shocking incident is far from over. The industry is watching closely, the public is waiting, and the future of both Kirk and the show remains uncertain. As the shocking saga continues to unfold, the fate of Kirk Frost and Mona Scott remains uncertain. We want to hear from you, our viewers. What do you think about Kirk Frost's explosive attack on Mona Scott? Was it a moment of frustration, or did he cross a line? Should Mona Scott pursue legal action, or is it time to move on? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to know where you stand in this fiery drama. Don't forget to like this video if you're shocked, comment to share your opinion, and subscribe to stay updated on all the juicy, scandalous stories as they unfold. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next in this reality TV meltdown. Stay tuned for more breaking news. This drama is far from over. Catch you in the next one.